welcome to another episode of Asylum Radio / TV. Jimmy, put your mask back on. You look heaps better. I don't think we can see you on this anyway, because we've got five of us. I don't know how it's going to record. We're going to be able to see just four of us on the screen, and one of us is going to miss out. So I think it's Jimmy because he's the last one to hop on. We've got Gally on this week, so we've already spoken to everyone else today. Andre's looking very happy as usual. Andre, you look like one of those old men profile photos on Facebook. You know how they can never center their photos? It's always on a weird angle. Just stand up. There you go. There you go. Stand up a bit. There.
I'm trying to get comfortable for the long haul. Do you know what I mean?
I think you know what. I think this is the first time all five of us have been on.
Yep.
All five of us have been on when we used to do just the radio, but this is the first time all five of us are on with the video. Yeah. We can't normally do it but we'll see how we go. Gally, what's happening? You're obviously you're looking like a wildebeest. Look at you. You're unshaven. You haven't had Botox in so long. Hair's...
That's the best thing about this is we'll find now. You'll know that I don't, and I'm willing to put up $50,000 US for you to prove me wrong.
You know everyone's unemployed and broke now, so they can't stick to that bet. That's the only reason why you're doing it.
We're just going to have to barter.
Barter for Botox.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's going to affect a few girls, isn't it?
What's it like over there? Obviously, it's a little bit different. So you're probably I'm guessing about 4 weeks ahead of what we are.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we're what is it here? It's 5:30 Tuesday, 5:30 PM. So it's not too bad. Like we can still, same as you guys, we can go get food when we need to. They do say, obviously, saying restrict it to once a week or once every few days if you can. No gyms, no hairdressers, nothing like that's open at all. So, but I live in a really big complex, it's huge, and it's just weird because you don't see anyone. No one comes out of their houses at all. I guess that's good, but it's just weird. So I don't know anyone here, mate. So talk about isolation. This is the best interaction I've had.
How's it been like with gyms closing down over there? Because the Morrison just came on the news this morning saying that they're reopening gyms in Australia.
They are?
Yeah.
When?
Next week, hopefully, by Sunday.
Oh, geez, well, if that's happening there, it's got to happen here, surely. The thing is here, too,
get into a gullible American
shit.
It's got to. All right.
We're laughing because it's not going to happen there. We've had 16 people die in Australia. You've passed China. You've got ages before.
No, we've passed China in...
You've passed China in deaths now.
No, not in deaths. No, nowhere near. No, not even close. But again, look at the population of America. How many people are here?
And look at the population of China, and then you'll see how America's more fucked up than China.
Sorry, I was thinking of Italy. No, we're doing fine. We're doing fine. We're good. But no, the gym thing sucks, as we all know. And there's amateur shows here every single weekend, so it's affected a lot of people getting ready for shows. There's not just one or two a year. They're every weekend, every Saturday, every Sunday. There's an amateur show all over the place. But there's some big gyms in Dallas, some really well-known ones like Destination Dallas and Golds and all those sort of things. So
like a porn.
Yeah. The gyms.
It's like a porn title.
But I do have
Destination Dallas. You're thinking of Debbie Does Dallas.
Look at that.
Go fit.
Unbelievable.
That's one of the equipment I've got to train with every day.
I am killing it at the moment. I'm just waiting for it to pop out of the door when I'm doing it and hit me in the head.
Is that the proper you got a gym thing?
I think it might be. It's actually, it looks really, the guy that got me when I sold, he got me good when he sold it. He was on the ball. He suckered me in straight away. And I'm a sucker for things like that. When the muscle mags had put on 10 pounds of muscle in 2 weeks, I was sure it was going to happen.
You're full of shit. You're talking about when you used to buy a porn magazine and they used to have those little things saying, take this pill and your dick will grow 3 inches in. How many times did you fall for that? Yeah.
I still remember what was it, Charles Atlas on the magazines when the guy got sand kicked in his face? Those ads.
Fuck no, well before my time.
Do you know how you used to buy comic books? They used to have them in the old wrestling magazines. I used to get the wrestling magazines, and they used to have those X-ray vision glasses for 50 cents. the little cartoon was a guy looking at his chick, so you threw a top. Yeah. I fell for that a couple of times.
Can you imagine doing that in this day and age with all our political correctness? Like it just wouldn't.
I've been able to post ads like that. Nah. No. Let's talk a bit about bodybuilding. So we didn't really touch on much of that our last show because we were just basically talking about us in isolation and how it's affected us, and it was a basic catch up because we haven't done this for God knows how long. Like fuck, our lives are completely changed since the last time we recorded all together.
I've just been waiting for you, Mark.
Well, I have been a little bit busy doing stuff.
Yeah. I'll let you off on that one.
So we'll focus more on bodybuilding on this episode, and we'll talk about obviously what happened in America with the Arnold Classic there. And Gully, you can touch on that because you're obviously over there in America. Talk about the Arnold over here, the amateur shows, and then what our predictions are for the shows for the rest of the year. So Gully, I can't remember whether or not ATP were actually planning on having a booth at the Arnold in Columbus.
You know what? We decided not to about 3 months before it, which in hindsight, obviously a good thing, but I feel for everyone else because, a lot of the big companies there, Redcon and Tiger Fitness and all those sort of ones, I still don't know what happens regarding if they get paid back or not. I don't know if there's a clause in the contract. I've got no idea. But I was going to fly over there just to watch it anyway. I was almost going to book a ticket and accommodation, and then all this stuff obviously happened. Which I guess shocked all of us at the start because you don't think of something like this ever happening at all. And Columbus Rely, that event for them over that weekend is huge. A lot of businesses in that area thrive off that competition with the amount of people go. So I do know, I did have mates that actually went, that already booked it. So they did go. They just went just to, they had a little side venue. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't too far from where that expo is supposed to be, where some people still set up some sort of booths, and that they did something there.
Didn't they have like a virtual expo too?
I don't know if that went ahead or not. It may have. I never saw it. No.
Is that not the biggest fucking piss take anyway?
I didn't even know how it would have been run.
I don't even know if it was a piss take. I think it was just they were trying to unscramble the mess that was created and try and give something out. You know what I mean? And try and provide some sort of option for all the exhibitors that already invested in being there. Because
I did see people like Mark LeBliner put up his YouTube channel that he'll never go again. Like some people were having outbursts over it. I can see his point of view, but then again, I can see that it's no one's fault. It's just one of those things that just happened, and a lot of people got caught out. A lot of competitors, a lot of sponsors. Yeah.
With see people whinging like that, saying that they'll never go again. They'll probably boycott it for 1 year and then realise, oh, you know what, I'm missing out. I'm going to go back.
Yeah. Well, I know we'll definitely, but with the Australian one, we'll definitely be there next year. It's a huge event. I guess at the end of the day, it's no one's fault. No one would ever predict something like this. I've never ever seen something like this. Never seen anything close down a show that big since it started in '89.
Oh, it's someone's fault, but
it's just a conspiracy.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Chris? You were going to say something.
No, I was going to say, are they upset and boycotting it because they're not getting their money back, or are they upset for another reason?
I think that was where he was alluding to when he did his YouTube, but I still don't think to now. Gretch, you probably know more regarding like the Aussie Arnolds. I don't know where people stand as far as, so say for instance, if we get a booth and we've paid $40K for the booth, but then on top of that you've got all staff, and this goes for everyone who's done the booth. So say you've got 8 staff attending, so all airfares or accommodation. You're losing all that accommodation and airfares already. That people aren't getting that back. But what happens as far as paying for the booth? Is there anything refunded that you may know of, or is each Arnold's different? Say, is Columbus different to Australia?
Each Arnold's will definitely be different, but I think the main thing it comes down to is who is responsible for cancelling. So I know over here there was a lot of back and forth of who's going to make that final decision to pull the pin, because whoever makes that final decision it falls on them. It's their fault. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So if it was a government thing and the government forced the venue to not hold any events, then I'm guessing, and I don't know 100%, and I will have Tony on by the end of the week. He actually messaged me yesterday. He can clear it all up. But it comes down to who is responsible for pulling the pin at the end of the day. And I think that's why so many of these decisions have been prolonged, because everyone else is waiting for someone else to pull the pin, so they're not responsible for the admitted cancelling of the show, I guess, at the end of the day. So, and no one wants to be responsible for, A, that amount of income being lost, and B, disappointing so many people, and C, they don't want to be responsible for possibly being not taking into consideration the consequences of people's health and blah 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 if they do hold the event. So I don't know if you're either going to be irresponsible or responsible, and then wear the cost.
Regardless, you're never going to make everybody happy.
Yeah,
no one's going to be happy. Yeah, everyone's missing out.
That in terms of financial, everyone at the end of the day is going to look out for themselves and their own back. Like with what Chris said at the beginning of the show, I don't know if we were recording or not, or were we off air, Chris, when you wrote a letter to your brother's landlord about his barbershop.
Yep.
Not every landlord's going to be as accommodating or as nice, depending on the relationship you have, how long you've been, etc., as Chris's brothers. Whereas, especially when you're talking big convention centres, expo halls, etc., hundreds of thousands of dollars, if that expo has been paid the money, they're going to want to hold on to that money, especially for, say, Tony. He pulls the pin because, all right, health and safety of the athletes, that's the main, that's important. I'm just going to say we're going to cancel it. So he's then going to refund everyone's money because he cancelled it. But the expo is going to go, hey, fuck you. I've already got my 100 and something, 400,000, whatever. Why should I give it all back? If that makes sense. So that's why the whole idea of a fucking nationwide shutdown, lockdown, and then everybody's in the same boat would be the best case.
Yeah. I saw from over here, I saw a lot of backlash when the amateur Arnolds went on. And I thought, everything was under the guidelines. It was done right. But people seem to forget the NRL was still on that same weekend. So you had footy teams out there tackling each other that same weekend in Sydney, but no one said anything about that. So I think there was a fair bit of, there's a few people throwing stones that probably shouldn't have.
There's still a lot of inconsistencies with everything, and a lot of contradictions of how many people can do this, but there's this amount of people that can do that. Like now he's just announced that, and I'm lucky I got in 2 weeks ago, but he's just announced that partners aren't allowed in the hospital when their wives are giving birth in the same room, in the birthing suite. So it's just, so partners aren't even allowed anymore. And I'm like, what, like, how did they single that out? Out of all the things in the world that's happening right now, how do they just single out, all right, ladies that are giving birth, your husband's not allowed to be in the birthing suite, but tens of thousands of you are allowed to be at the shops doing groceries at the same time or crammed into a train.
Or vote. Didn't you guys vote?
No, I refuse to.
Yeah, good, yeah.
Fuck that. But as we said before, what you just said, Gretchen, right? So that's a restriction there. Okay, fine. But as we were discussing off air, a hairdresser, and in my brother's case, and as in my trade, barbers, right? They still can touch people and they're open. I mean, I'm not trying to get hairdressers cut down, but I'm just talking about inconsistencies. Like my brother closed his shop out of fear for his own safety, but they're still allowed to trade. So it was a grey area, like writing to his landlord, because she could have quite easily said, well, you know what, you're actually still allowed to fucking trade. So, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, so your brother's been responsible choosing to shut the business down in this time?
Well, yeah, he did, and he's been closed as of Monday. But luckily, as I said, with his landlord, they sort of said, yep, no worries, whatever time you need, we'll defer, So, some people have been pretty good about it,
That was one of the inconsistencies that stood out for me, was the hairdressers thing, where originally they said you're allowed to go get, say, more for females, you're allowed to go get your hair done, but you can't be in there for more than 30 minutes. And I was like, how does that make sense? Because now there's going to be a massive turnstile of women going to get what they can. It's a greater chance of contracting the illness or the virus because there's such a big turnover of people coming in a shorter period of time. And then they changed it the next day to 2 hours. So that's what I mean. I don't know if it's the same over there. Trump, look, at least you've got entertainment over there because Trump's cracking me up. He literally he bypasses every question and goes on a massive rant for a good 2 or 3 minutes.
I think his problem is, and I agree with him, is the amount of crap he cops from friggin' CNN or something like that, because they're just they're just most of those people are Democrats as it is, but they do report a lot of fake news, and it's so much more obvious when you're over here, when you watch the CNN TV compared to the press conference that goes on earlier on in the day. They chop and change shit, man. They really do change it up. But he's got a big following. His approval rating's going up and up. It really is.
I like him.
I think
I like him better now.
all things considered, I think he's doing a good job. I'd hate to be in anyone's position doing this, because we're talking about guys that are probably sleeping 1 to 2 hours, if that, every night continually for the past month. So it'd be a prick of a thing. Hey, just before I forget, with your comp, Gretch, were you at any stage leading up to your New South Wales show, were you worried that they were going to pull the pin at the last minute?
Yeah, I literally watched the press conference when they were releasing the restrictions. I think it was I was at work, so it would have been a Thursday or a Friday, and what's the New South Wales chick's name? Gladys Berry. What's her name? Is that her name? Anyway, she came on to talk about the new restrictions in New South Wales, and it was either the Thursday or the Friday that she came on, and my show was on the Sunday, and she said these new restrictions have come out where no crowds over 500 are allowed indoors at any time, and I was like, fuck, my heart dropped, and then she said starting Monday. My show was on the Sunday. Yeah, so I literally scraped in by less than 12 hours.
Yeah. So with the end of the year season B shows end, have you already put a deposit on that venue?
Well, especially with New South Wales. New South Wales is really tough to find venues. So I've booked venues for season A and season B all the way up to 2023.
Oh, shit, okay.
Yeah, so especially a venue for October, which is October 4th, it's an expensive venue. We're talking
so what happens if, worst case scenario, this continues and they pull the pin?
Well, how do you feel, man? That's a thing. Like, well, I've got to, and we haven't discussed it because I guess we're just looking at letting everything sink in from what happened with the Arnolds and that before we even start thinking about season B. But we have come to a point now where we've got to really start contemplating what we're going to do. But it's the uncertainty which is making it so hard. We don't know how long gyms are going to close. If realistically, like, people are talking about Facebook, I'm still prepping for season B, blah blah blah. How many people are going to prep for season B now that gyms are closed? Let's be realistic. Like, if you couldn't train at a gym, would you prep for a competition?
Nah. That's why I saw the status you put up, and I understand where people are coming from too, but I think talk's cheap in a way as well. And we're all the same. If we didn't have a good gym to train in, where we could do everything properly, we all know ourselves, we can't put 100% into a prep. So in the back of your mind, you're thinking, fuck, I'm probably not going to be at my best. And then you start doubting yourself. So it'd be a hard prep to do, not knowing. You're right, the uncertainty is a hard thing. So for you promoting a show, you guys have got to look at that in advance as well, because you've got to start marketing it. You've got to start getting the numbers up, the sponsors on board. So that brings in another thing, a sponsor. It's going to be hard to knock that down too, unless you've got an absolute guarantee that the show is going to go ahead.
Yeah, but do the sponsors have money?
That's it. That's exactly what my next point was going to be. Like, everyone's hurt by what's happened in the world. So it's not just exactly right. The sponsors, like, a sponsor's going to have the disposable income to start promoting themselves at bodybuilding competitions and supporting the comps. Like, that's everything we've got to think of at the same time. So I don't know. It's hard, man. You came up with a prediction, Andre, that we're not going to have any amateur comps until season B next year. What makes you think it's going to drag on that long?
Yeah, talk to us, Andre.
All right. Well, let's put it this way.
The most negative of the bunch.
Basically, I'm not fucking negative. I'm probably the most logical cunt out of all of you. Right?
Oh, well, that's just dropped us by about 400 views, because they'll monetize that.
What it means, probably increase it by 400 because they're expecting me to say it. Put it this way. The entire economy is going to shut down, right? It's got to, all right? People are going to, like, how many jobs have we already lost? And how many of those jobs are affecting people that are competitive bodybuilders? They're not going to have the financial ability to pay for food, pay for coaches, right? All right, they don't have to worry about a gym membership at the moment, but they're probably scraping up all their cash to create a gym home at home, right? That's going to cost them a couple $1,000s, right? Then not only that, supplementation, both legal and illegal, right? And then once, let's say, competitions do become available, how are they going to afford registration? How are they going to afford travel? How are they going to afford, like the bikini girls, how are they going to afford their those extravagant bikini suits that they wear at the prices, and the tan, and the hair, and the makeup?
Oh, he's so look at how proud of himself he is right now.
Yeah, not bad, eh? Not bad.
That was good.
Yeah,
That was
checkmate.
Do I have to bleep?
We all know.
Do we have to bleep out his little outburst to our galley? Is that going to affect our viewer ratings on YouTube if we swear?
We're done.
No, Galley. No, Mark. It's because Galley's new show. They're not allowed to use swear words.
Oh, they're not,
It's
yeah.
PG-13.
Have you ever seen me swear on a show yet?
I'm pretty sure you've sworn at me a few times.
Yeah, you're different. You bring it out of me though, Gretch. You push my buttons like no one else.
My wife says the same thing.
Yeah, or it could be the total flip side, and we know what bodybuilders are like. They seem to just they pull money from somewhere. Let's face it. Or there might just be a huge resurgence where everyone the lineups could be stacked. We don't know yet. It could be one of okay, it's 50-50 really. But imagine that if everyone just said all of a sudden end of April, all right, we've got through it. Things are good. We're going to lift the bands. Everyone's back in the gyms training, and everyone's like, "All right, I've got 5 months. I'm on stage." Chris and I come out of retirement. We're back. Hey?
How old are you, Gally?
You know what's sad? I'm gonna talk about this. My birthday's on the 9th of April. It'll be the first birthday in 46 years. I'll be sitting somewhere by myself and won't know a soul. So feel sorry for me.
How old are you, Gally?
I just told you, 46.
46. So you I know you've been a bodybuilding fan for the majority of your life, but you wouldn't remember the 82 Olympia?
Yeah, Chris Dickinson won it, but I don't.
What the fuck? How do you even know that?
see?
Anyway,
There you go.
fucking freak, man. What a freak. Anyway, Charlie Duca rang me the other day to talk about the competitions in Season B, and he brought up the 82 Olympia. I don't know if you said the 82 Olympia. Charlie's a little bit hard to understand sometimes, but
It would have been 80. A lot of people boycotted it.
yeah, so that's it. Yeah, so a lot of people boycotted the 82 Olympia. So what the promoter did, and who was the promoter at the time? Who would it have been?
Oh shit! It could have been D'Amelio back then.
Anyway,
I know Arnold and that were doing the World Championships.
for argument's sake, to say it was D'Amelio, what he did so he could boost numbers at that show, that particular show, was approached all the shit body. So he went up to basically the worst bodybuilder in the country. So say I went up to Jimmy and said,
I knew he was going to say something.
No. Look.
I
So
thought
what
he
he
was going
did,
to say me.
so he approached the worst bodybuilder in the country and said, "Oh, do you want to do the Olympia? Blah blah blah." And I'm like, "No, everyone's boycotting it." And he's like, "Well, everyone's boycotting it. You're a shoo-in to win it." So I signed him on a contract, and then went to the next best bodybuilder in the country, and then worked his way up the chain. Started from the worst to the best, and worked his way up the chain. And then before you know it, he had 20 people signed up or whatever to the Olympia. So. Charlie brought up that example. I go, we're not going to do that in Australia.
Have you and the other promoters, and obviously Tony, I mean, I'm sure there'll be more talks coming up anyway, but have you thought about ideas like that, or are you thinking of ideas saying, okay, if we're given 3 months notice before the shows were due, what can we do? Like, can we get something cranking? Because I don't know, man. I honestly think there's a lot of guys out there. We've got a pretty good talent of bodybuilders around at the moment. The last few shows, we've got some good guys around there, and good females too, like a good mixed bag. So I don't know. I reckon I don't know. I think we could get quite good lineups at the end of the year.
Well, let's instead of asking me, let's ask Chris and Andre, and even Jimmy, perhaps a few people. Has your prep clients, starting with Chris, has your prep clients dropped for Season B because of the circumstances?
No one's really talking about that at the moment. I mean, I've always kind of, anyone knows me, has always sort of promoted, and most of my athletes, I'd probably say 75 to 80% work year round. So it's pretty much, I'm not going to say it's business as normal because, it's affected things, but I'm actually really quite surprised at the number of people last week, in particular, once this, debit success suspension thing happened, how many people would message me and said, "Hey, listen, my debit didn't come out this week." And even though I'd emailed them, but people don't read emails. And they said, what's going on? Are we not doing it anymore? So, the last week was just sort of getting things back on board. And this week it's business as usual. Check-ins are all in today. I've got everyone's check-in. So we're just moving forward as it is. I think the thing is, man, we probably underestimate the resilience of people. And also the other thing is the narcissistic factor. Given any chance, someone's going to want to do a show to have some photographs. And I know I'm being a prick saying that, but it's true, and let's be fair as well. If anyone's actually realistic and is not in the old school ways where you just eat the house down all year round and have to lose 40 kilos doing a show, 12 weeks, even at that notice, people should be able to get ready in that time. I know all my athletes are within striking distance always. So there's a lot of factors. But at the moment, it's maintaining structure. And as I said, I've been doing posts each day, not to be a life coach like every other wanker, but, I think it's important. Wake up the same time every day, go through your same routine every day. Your location may be different where where you go now because we're at home or whatever. But just don't break the habit and get into unhealthy little habits that we've
realistically, this isn't any excuse for anyone to be any lazier. If more so, it should be like there's no excuse to not get your cardio done, your fasted cardio done, or get your training session done, or even a couple of sessions a day, especially if you're isolated at home and you've got a little bit of a setup.
Chris, that status that you posted, I tried to share that yesterday, but for whatever your settings I couldn't share. But that was quality. And like, I've used this time to do shit that I just haven't had time to do. Like, I've started stretching in the morning and I've realized how fucking not flexible I am. It's embarrassing.
You're as wide as you are tall. How do you stretch that?
No, I don't know. And that's what I'm trying to work out. And I stick with it because I'm unemployed and I have nothing else to do. No, but going back to also what you said, Mark, about the 82 Olympia and getting the bottom of the barrel to compete and give them titles, etc. Don't the IFBB elite do that anyway?
Did they even have a show?
Yeah, they had anyway.
No one
did they? What?
No one would have turned up to that. No one would have turned up to that, especially what would happen at the Arnold.
Hey, Chris, touching on what you said, with the athletes you have got, and you've got some damn good athletes, if all of a sudden in May, the shows are back on, they'd all commit straight away, wouldn't they?
Straight away.
Yeah.
Straight away.
Yeah. What about you, Andre?
As I said, I've and I know Andre feels the same. We always talk about this sort of shit, but there is no point carrying unnecessary weight ever. There's no benefit from it. You're not going to grow more if you're 20% body fat and eating the house, or if you're 10 or 11% body fat and eating enough to grow. So, I think the bottom line is people are realizing now that it's about health and it's about systemically all the things that go wrong when you carry too much weight. So, mate, if it happens, they'll be there. As I said, as much as there are a lot of losers out there doing some really stupid shit, inherently, humans are pretty resilient. You know what I mean? Apart from being pretty stupid, but
I think you nailed it on the head too. And this is, even though my hours of sleeping have changed, so I'll stay up a lot later now, and I tend to sleep in just that little bit longer. But I still get up. I have my shower. I put my clothes on, fly for work. I do my hair.
Yep.
Whatever work I can do, which is not much, it's just trying to see what's going to happen once this finishes. So it's basically setting up stuff for the future. But then I've got my daily routine set for the same day. I do my little circuit training the same day. So you're right. It's I think a lot of people that aren't used to this, and this is going to separate the people that, again, are weak and strong, because they'll sit on the couch and they'll just waste this time. They'll waste
flicking through social media on their phone.
Yeah.
Literally spending their entire day doing that.
That'll probably annoy you more than anything else, because there's that much bullshit on social media at the moment. But
I get caught in that trap. No, that's one trap that I do get caught in.
Yeah,
like I literally sit on my phone and just
I did for a few days, and then I went a day or two where I'm not going to look at it at all. I didn't even watch the news on TV. I just did what I had to around the house. I did a couple of walks outside, and I felt so much better from it, because it's like it's. If you don't hear it, you don't see it, you don't have to worry about it.
The only reason why I get stuck looking at social media now is every time Jimmy sends me a link of this new conspiracy theory, it takes me to YouTube, and then it reverts you back to Facebook.
It was a fucking doozy. Gave you all links and everything. But you know what you've got to start to do, and this makes your day so much better. Just start fucking with people. Just start fucking with them. Like if they write something, just throw them a little bit of bait so they just latch on. Then you can put your phone down, and then the rest of the day they've ruined it.
I put that post up the other day. And it's that many people shared it and ended up going a little bit viral. Where I've posted footage of those Chinese warships docking up in New South Wales at Sydney Harbour. And
how funny was that?
Yeah, and I put the post up saying that Chinese warships docked up to stock. I even actually said in the post, but it goes to show people don't read the post. So I said Chinese warships docking up Sydney Harbour 9 months ago to stock up on Australia's last supply of toilet paper. What did I say? Toilet paper, baby formula, and extra small condoms. But it got shared that many times with people with a little angry face emoji going, "These fucking pricks are doing it." That's the easiest way to just fuck with people these days. What was the other one we thought of the other day, Jimmy? We thought of one when I caught up with you. I was saying you got to do this. I can't remember what it was. I can't remember if it
one where they put that 31 Chinese uni students come through.
Yeah, that's right. He made out like it just happened yesterday. 31,000. So what do you reckon? So
do you think the Olympia will be on this year?
Yeah, that was my next question.
Actually, on top of that, 2 weeks later at Athleticon. They're 2 massive shows. That. Yeah. Okay. Well, what do you think? I'll start with you, Jimmy. You say first. I know what Andre's going to say.
Fuck, maybe we shouldn't have started with Jimmy.
September. Look. This is my whole, and this relates to bodybuilding, to life, to my wedding in October, everything. If the world's not back to normal in 6 months, the world's going to go to fucking shit anyway. So it's not worth doing nothing.
Why?
If it's not to normal, it's going to take way longer than 6 months to get back to fucking normal.
Expand on that, but you can't say it's going to shit. Why is it going to go to shit?
Well, fuck with the economy, with people in general. The majority of people can't train. The majority of pros, I'm assuming, have got a gym over in the States, so they can just take a key, fucking go in there, do their thing. But it's still not the same. It stems back to what you guys were saying before. This is going to all have to come to an end, and we're going to have to go back to whatever unquote normal is going to be by 12 weeks at least. Because the Olympia is still going to have qualifying shows, unless they're just going to give a bunch of fucking special invites or say whoever competed last year can compete this year. Who fucking knows?
Well, they did mention something about the invitations being a lot easier, or the qualifying. Yeah, but that's another thing too. And I guess this is what separates a professional from an amateur. Is I know personally, when I know I'm prepping for a show, that my intensity in the gym notches up a little bit, because you've got that goal, you've got that focus. And I'm guessing a pro would be 100% the same. And would you reckon their intensity in the gym training would be just the same now with all the uncertainty of whether or not they're going to actually hop on stage?
If they have a proper gym, they're probably training better. I know I would.
I know you are.
How many, I don't know. Again, I guess it depends how many actually do have access to the gym. Would they be allowed to do it? A lot of the pros I follow on Instagram, when you talk to them, not many of them are. They've got setups in their garage at the moment. But I don't know. I know me personally. I mentally, I wouldn't. I just couldn't be bothered doing it. I just put it off.
Yeah.
Right, let's imagine this scenario, right?
He's been building up this.
No. I haven't been building up this.
Keep the profanity to a minimum.
I'll do my best, so don't irritate me, and I won't do it.
Started to fire up there. His face literally went red saying that. I could tell how you've said that so many times. Don't irritate me, just as a precursor to you.
I can't hit you through the screen.
It's normally an open hand slap.
Yeah. So imagine this, right? So they're going to hold the Olympia, right? And so there's a guy that we won't mention names or anything like that. Let's say he placed last in the Olympia last year. Right? And he knows that the top guys aren't going to compete because they haven't got access to a gym or they haven't got the proper, access to the food and whatnot. He's going to be head down, bum up, focusing for the Olympia to get the Olympia title.
Yeah, well, that was basically Brandon Curry this year, knowing that Phil wasn't competing, Sean Roden wasn't competing, and Kai wasn't competing. So that was Brandon Curry.
And you can correlate that to a couple of the Australian amateur guys that want their pro card this year. They'll be doing the same thing right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right.
It's the same mentality, man. Like, there's one in the lineup, I won this lineup. Well, you also came last in that lineup too. It depends which way you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Look, on another, if it was personally myself, right, this, apart from the uncertainty about the show and the time of, this would be a perfect time for me to do a show. I'm telling you, because I don't care. I can train in the gym by myself. I'm good. It would probably be the perfect scenario. But, training and not knowing, that's the part of it, I wouldn't have any trouble getting motivation to train. I've actually trained better in this last 2 weeks than what I have in the 3 months before.
I can relate. My training's been good. It's
I asked Mark yesterday, I go, can I do, like, if your show is to go ahead, I go, fuck, I've got nothing to do. I might as well get ready for your show. And he goes, no. Because if I don't run the show goes to shit.
If he doesn't run the show, I told him, look, you can't do my show because you got to work.
Your show?
October 4th.
And hey, is the Nationals supposed to be on the Gold Coast this year?
It's supposed to be, yeah. Yeah,
I heard that somewhere. I didn't know if it's true or not. Whereabouts?
Sleeman.
I didn't know that.
Where?
Sleeman in Brisbane.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's in Brisbane, isn't it, Chris?
I'm back for, obviously, Jimmy's wedding, and I'm going to come back a week earlier for your show as well.
What do you mean? They're going to put you in quarantine for fucking 4 weeks, buddy.
That's another thing you've got to take into consideration.
Yeah, they're going to put you in a quarantine straight away.
Not by then, not by October.
You don't
Fuck, they will, trust me.
You don't
They
know.
They'll either shoot you on sight, like they do in North Korea, all right? Or they put you in quarantine. Which one do you want?
I reckon, you know what? Okay, this is what I reckon. Where's the other two gone?
They're there, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. Everyone's there.
I can only see. All I can see is a black space now. This is weird.
No.
I reckon we're going to be okay. I reckon we're going to come out of this fine.
All right, Mr. Positivity.
Everyone's going to be pumping back to work, all that sort of stuff by May. Your comp's going to be on. Jimmy's wedding is going to be on. I'm going to come home. I've got a month to spend on holidays. Things are good. We're going to be good.
So, Mick, are you saying with your positivity they'll be in Thailand in the end of October?
Yes, 100%. You will be in Thailand?
And will you be in Thailand at the end of October?
Possibly.
Gally, your predictions are just as good as Trump's. Didn't he say that the disease is going to be gone by
Easter? He didn't say the disease was going to be gone. He said he was optimistic for Easter, but he's got to look at the data every day as well. So he's trying to do the right thing. He did, however,
he did
get all that. Have you seen the military hospital ships he's got into New York, which arrived yesterday, which was pretty damn impressive, actually?
I reckon he's. I don't know. Trump's funny. The whole China thing, the Chinese flu thing. That video, that's gotten me through this lockdown. That video alone, I've watched that at least 800 times.
Isn't it funny though? When he first wanted the border shut to China, the Democrats called him racist straight away, racist. And then he did eventually close them a week later, and then they whinged about that as well. So he can't bloody win with those idiots. Can't stand him. I've got to be careful too.
Yeah, you do have to be careful. You get shot there.
I argue with some of my accounts over here because they're Democrats, so I do have to be careful.
Yeah, they take their politics seriously over there, eh? Yeah, like you can't have an argument here whether they're Liberal or Labor. Like no one gives a fuck.
Do you know what?
What'd you say, Chris?
No one knows what they are.
I can't remember what I voted for last time.
It's ridiculous over here. Like in Texas especially, I think I'm probably the only person in Texas without a gun. And that's not even exaggerating. I reckon I'd be the only one. It's nuts. And they're all going on about, our civil rights and all this sort of stuff. And it's, who knows what's going to happen. But I did have a look at Glocks on the You can get a damn good one for $450 US.
If I was living in America,
Get an automatic shotgun.
oh, semi-automatic, you can't get a full automatic, can you?
No, the only thing is, it's just the price, though, Andre. It's the price.
Mate, doesn't matter. You can afford it.
Hey, Mick out.
When it comes down to, are you going to get that bag of rice or not? It's going to come in handy.
Hey, if I do, I've been searching. If we do, I'll show you next episode. I'll show you. I'll give you a look.
I pulled out the knives last episode. That's all we can do here. What did he do in Thailand, Chris? Shot a gun off a what?
Oh, yeah, we went to the shooting range. Mick beat us all, actually, with the 9mm.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, I'm a pretty good shot. I did not grow up, but I did spend all my school holidays on my uncle's farm, though. So we were given guns as young kids. Just off you go shooting. All right, sweet. Which you'd never see that these days because all the kids are a bunch of pussies, aren't they?
What do you? So, all right. So, if we don't have the Olympia this year, what do you think they should do? Do you reckon? Not if they don't have it this year, but if they don't have it at the scheduled time. So Olympia is what, September 15th, 16th this year. I've got a pretty good feeling that this is still going to be going on in September. Not to the degree it is now.
Would the Olympia be cancelled? But then, would The Rock then move Athleticon to like November, December?
That's what I was going to say. Will they postpone it?
If that happens, 100%, this fucking COVID-19 was started by The Rock.
Put it this way: if the Olympia's cancelled, that means we're in a lot of trouble. Because if this thing's going to go for another 4, 5, 6 months, we're in a lot of trouble with the economy. Everyone's in trouble. No one's going to be competing at all. If it goes that long.
I don't know. I certainly hope
not.
Think about it. I certainly
hope not too. I really hope not. I think a decision's going to have to be made soon, though, on what they're going to do because.
No, they can't really make a decision because it's constantly evolving. Like, just shit's changing fucking left, right, and centre on the daily. So, like, I don't know.
So what was the flu back in, 2009, 2010 when bloody Obama, who was the freaking worst president we've ever had?
SARS.
That was SARS.
So that killed so many. Man, look at the statistics on that. But that barely made the media at all. It barely made the news. So there's obviously, I think, with Jimmy, with what he's saying with conspiracy, there's obviously more to this for sure. You look at the statistics of the people who caught it and then the people who died.
I shared a video. I shared a video this morning that I watched, and this was just a guy just basically just talking statistics about in the first quarter of this year, how many people have died from what. Just your basic, everyday, what we consider normal flu, there's over 150,000 deaths in the first 3 months of the year.
Yeah.
And there's like fucking 20,000 or 12,000 deaths from this.
13,000.
13,000 from the fake.
Because he said that's the statistics. He said 13 million. Yeah,
like 100,000 people have almost like have committed suicide, jumped off a building or whatever. There's been like 50,000 deaths. No, 1.3 million deaths in the entire world of children under 5. Motor vehicle accidents are fucking super high. So I don't understand where the hoopla is of this little fucking fake flu.
Fake flu.
I'm the same. Like people keep saying because it's the unknown and they don't know much about it. But
don't they know about it? It's media. It's the media. If just say here, channel 7, 9, 10, and 2 got shut the fuck off, everyone go about their business.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and this is why I talk about the flu 10 years ago is because it didn't make the news much at all, and everyone just did their own thing. No borders, nothing got shut down, did it?
No.
Nothing at all. Look at the statistics on that when you get off this show of that flu back then, which I'm pretty sure was the swine flu. I think that was it.
No, it was SARS. Swine flu.
SARS. Look at the statistics on it.
Yeah, but if they're going to compare and they're going to say that so many people died from SARS back then and we didn't make a big deal about it, they're just going to say that, they're going to compare the stats and say, well, the reason why so many people survived this time is because we did do something about it.
But that's going to be the excuse for all.
Something doesn't. I think everyone knows that something doesn't. Something's not right.
I'm starting to lean more towards the whole 5G thing.
I like that one.
It's not even. It's not even about liking it. It's just starting to come a little bit more. I don't know. I don't know about the whole conspiracy of. Well, they said they originally released 5G in Wuhan where the disease happened, but I don't know. It's just the conspiracy is starting to get a bit too much now because there's that many of them. But the whole that dark one that you spoke about last episode, Jimmy, the whole pedophile thing, that's starting to become a little bit more apparent too. So there's definitely something, but I don't see why they would release a worldwide virus to mask this whole thing. Like, with it something they've been keeping
I'm
a
with
secret.
you on that one, Jimmy. Though I think that pedophile, there's no doubt that's been going on for bloody ages, but I don't know if it's tied in with the
Exactly right. Yeah, I don't think it's tied in. Yeah.
I would love to see some people come down over that, like a lot of people that are so connected to it. It's not funny. It's just not funny how many connections there are and too many coincidences with that pedo ring. It's fucking disgraceful. That's the one thing that pisses me off in the world is that sort of shit.
Hey, what's that drug, Gully?
What's that?
What's that drug that they use? Adrenochrome.
I've read adrenochrome or something like that. I mean,
because I'm starting to think about. I think you might have been using it because you've deteriorated a lot over the last fucking 4 weeks being in lockdown.
I'm fine. It's just my hair.
26, 6 weeks ago. Now you're pushing 50.
Bro. So, you're doing good. You're actually looking younger than you've ever looked. Lockdown does well for you, Gally.
Yeah, no stress.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a bit of stress.
What are your thoughts from overseas, and then I'll ask everyone else about how everything was handled here in regards to the Arnolds and that. Do you think it was the right decision at the end of the day to hold the event the way it was held, considering the circumstances?
The one that was back home in Melbourne?
Yeah.
I don't really have an issue with it because, I guess it's who you talk to, but most of the athletes, if not all of them, were still keen to see something go ahead. They still wanted to compete. The ones that did, they're really into it. All the guidelines were followed. He did everything above the book. And if you've still got events going on, like I said, the NRL still was going on that weekend. So if you've got contact sports going on and the government's fine with it, I think, I didn't see an issue with it at all. I don't have an issue with it.
What were your athletes' opinions on everything, Chris? Did you have many athletes? Oh, let's compare how many athletes you had prep for state shows and how many of them actually went on to do the Arnold.
I'm not going to say half pulled out. I'm going to say probably a third pulled out. But I still had 4 in the show. The one thing though, it was a difficult situation. You know what I mean? Like we're in Melbourne. We were committed. It's expensive for us as coaches too. Your accommodation, airfares, the whole thing. You got to stay down there for 4 days, and there's no point changing that. So I was down there for 4 days. But the one thing about the show, in a positive, is that apart from like always, when you have a local show, if you have a local show, it's an international show. There's people doing the show that really shouldn't be doing the show they're just doing it because they're local. They're shit, right? Sorry to say it like that. I'm just being blunt, okay?
Oh, good.
But by and large, the people that actually went to the show were people that believed they were in with the chance of winning the show. So the standard was good. It may not have been as deep as normal, but you know what? It got rid of the people that just were filling up numbers in the gate, so to speak. So you couldn't sort of criticise the quality of it. There were some good athletes who didn't go on and do it, obviously, but it was good. So it was difficult though. I mean, I don't know. You had 45, 50 people in there that you could go in. Seats were obviously set out distances apart. I only went the first day because I had all girls in the show. The guys didn't continue. So I don't know what the guys' show was like on the second day, but I'm assuming it would have been fairly similar.
Yeah, it would have been much of the same. What do you reckon?
Chris, the ones that pulled out, Chris, the only reason they pulled out was just uncertainty, wasn't it? That's it.
It was uncertainty, and also, to be honest, that they just sort of said if they were in line or in the hunt to win a pro card, they felt like they didn't want to win it in that way. They felt that they wanted to win it at the Arnolds, and I know it was still that, but it wasn't the Arnolds and this isn't a criticism. Tony did the best of what he could, and it was, he pulled something off that probably most couldn't. but they felt that they wanted to win it on the big stage and do it that way. And it was a little bit disappointing at the same time, but at the same time I understood it as well. So it was a little bit each way, but it was that same thing. Man, the other thing you got to remember as well with Queensland, and this is something that John needs to take up as well, right? And as I said, is you need to swap the dates around, right, for these shows. You can't just keep putting Queensland 4 weeks in front of the fucking main show, because that is a shit go. No one wants to fucking sit there for 4 weeks holding condition, and that needs to be turned around. And that's why there was some attrition from Queensland, because people were holding for 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it was, and then it get to the final week, things were up in the air. They're mentally weak, they're tired, and they just cracked and went, fuck it, I'm going to just eat.
Yeah, but that comes down to availability of the venue. You got to try and fit 4 states or 5 states, Queensland, New South Wales, Adelaide, Melbourne, 5 states in WA. You got to fit 5 shows before the Nationals or the Arnolds. But there's always going to be one state like mine. The New South Wales show was the first one off the ranks last year, and the last one off the ranks this year. And so many people I know from New South Wales competed at Queensland because they wanted to have a gap between shows. Where I was trying to tell people, it's actually, personally, I feel like it's the best scenario to only have a week gap.
Well, that's how we always did it. Remember, Mick? We'd go Queensland and we'd have 7 days and we'd be nationals. And
that in a perfect scenario, that's spot on. Yeah, absolutely.
I do realise it's not the case. It can't be the case with everyone. But I'm just saying that, like, that 4 week gap's just, I mean, look, I'm not saying you can't do it. I could do it. You have to do it. But it's a stretch. You know what I mean? No one really wants to do it. And then you end up with this scenario as well. My pet hate, right? People coming in, trundling some half-ass shit in and then going, oh, yeah, I'm waiting to peak for the Arnolds. I'm just going to say this straight at the camera right now. There are about this many people in the country that can actually hold something back. The rest of yous don't have nothing to fucking hold back, right? Show up in shape because yous aren't that fucking good. That's it.
That's a bullshit excuse.
That's fair enough.
I couldn't see the fingers.
That's fair enough.
How many fingers were you holding up, Chris?
3.
So Tim McKinnon's 1.
Correct?
Well, fuck, Mark Gretsch never competes in shape, so he's 2.
Gretsch, you can see that coming. Come on.
It's predictable. It's predictable. It's predictable.
It's 3. 3 would have to be a female freak. Rach White. There you go.
Right now.
I missed that.
The right thing. Did anyone die?
What's that?
For Tony's show. Did anyone die? No. Did anyone contract the fake flu? No. So, he did a good thing.
I can tell you right now, if they ran the Arnolds as originally planned, I don't think anyone would have contracted it there either. I'm pretty confident about that. When you look at our stats here in Australia, where 2/3 of the people that have contracted it in New South Wales alone have come from overseas. Yeah. So yeah, but going back to what you were saying, Chris, so, like even my client Benny won the Arnolds last year, and he won New South Wales the week before, but didn't do the Arnolds, and it was his decision entirely. And the reason why he didn't do it is because he felt like he didn't want to go on stage. He wanted to go on stage against the best, and he felt like a lot of people would be pulling out. And the same. It was the whole limelight of the Arnolds. He just didn't think it was going to be the same. Plus, he didn't want to have to deal with the travel restrictions and everything. But I can see where you're coming from. I don't even know the numbers, to be honest. I don't know how many people actually did the Arnolds and how many pulled out. But Tony can enlighten us on that next time.
Who watched the live stream? I did.
I was busy. I was busy in the hospital watching my missus.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, right? I'm just wondering when someone's going to do a remake of My Sharona and it's going to be My Corona.
They already have.
Have they done that already?
Oh, about 15 times,
yeah.
What a great
Do you know who? It's funny you should say that, Chris, because you mentioned this guy's name to me the other day on WhatsApp. That Adrian actually did it on his Facebook. Remember really? Adrian?
Yeah.
He's singing that song, My Corona.
It's a matter of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, anyone else have a bit of hand sanitizer?
I got liters of it.
How good's that? You know where I got this from? I love customer service. It's my biggest thing. It's customer service. So when I bought Old Mate,
Yeah.
I went to the counter and the guy goes, "Oh, have you got some sanitizer?" I said, "No, I don't actually." He goes, "Here you go. We're giving them away to each customer." I went, "Oh, fucking, that's really good." I said, "Mate, I'll tell you what. I'll be back in this shop. Don't worry about that." I don't know what I'm going to get. I don't know what I'm going to get, but
Hey,
he's won me up.
is it
It's like
slippery? Is it slippery?
It smells like, to be honest, I'll be honest. I don't know what it is.
It's actually lube.
It does smell.
It's actually lube.
Do you know the biggest highlight of my day right now?
Using lube?
Is no. 12:30 every day on the dot. And Chris knows I'm a time man. On the dot, I will get in my car and I drive to Chick-fil-A. I get 8 nuggets with 2 barbecue sauce and a chicken burger sandwich, which is a pure chicken breast sandwich. They know me by name now. Every day I drive up. You can only go through the drive-through, and the lady's there. "Hey, Michael." Say hey. Same thing every day. Go home.
I stayed with
Like
Mick
your
on-
version of the Truman Show.
Yeah, I stayed with Mick on the coast last year or whatever it was, and it was an amazing routine. Get up in the morning, pull the computers out, do a bit of work. Next thing you know, Mick would look around and go, "I'm just going to the post office." Yep, no worries. He'd come back from the post office with a sandwich and a muffin, and it was like
And a Red Bull.
every day, same thing.
Same thing every day. Doesn't change. Yeah. That's what I'm telling everyone. Stay in routine, people. Stay in routine.
Absolutely.
Staying routine with your chicken nuggets and your chicken sandwich.
8 chicken nuggets, and it's a proper chicken breast in the burger. It's a proper chicken breast. Chick-fil-A, everyone. You'd love it, Jimmy.
COVID free?
Well, I don't know. I can only hope because they're all got their gloves on and they're all that. And yeah, well,
Hey, right. I know you've got a lot of time on your hands, and I know you're smart as fuck. Have you thought about developing a vaccine? There's not much you can't do. So I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, it's called a sawn-off shotgun.
The bug.
It's a vaccine. Like, it will remove all the people that are infected. We'll remove all the stupid people as well. Right?
be good.
So in Australia, what, we've got 22 million, 23. So we can easily cull it by half. Easy.
That's a good. Yeah.
This makes me think that, and when this was happening, I was driving to work the other day, and the roads are pretty much half empty now. And I was thinking, Thanos in the Avengers had the right idea about clicking his thumb and eliminating 50% of the human race. And I'm like, it would actually benefit this planet so much if we actually could just do that. But not just random people. Like, you don't want your family or your friends to go. So how good would it be just to choose?
What if you had a family?
Knowing that you're doing it for the greater good, though.
Let's go to conspiracy, but let's go back to conspiracy now that you said that, because you've just led straight into this.
Yeah,
right?
I was thinking
So
that.
if this doesn't hurt children, right, and there's susceptible age group, doesn't it bring the aging population theory right into play here? Like it's
And it
not
hurts the
about
sick,
by and
Chris.
large the elderly. Sorry.
And those with like pre medical like have got something wrong with them initially that costs money to keep them alive.
That's the other thing, pensions, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but all right, but how does that make sense? How does that make sense? All right, let's go with both theories. First of all, people with pre-existing medical conditions and keep it costing money to keep them alive, they want that because the pharmaceutical industry and everything else just thrive off this type of shit and thrive off illness and people thinking that they're sick when they're not actually sick, but the old people one I can't figure out. Now look, one of this is one thing that I only just found out and I didn't even know. If you were going to go into an old retirement home in Australia, and I don't know whether or not this is just this one particular retirement home, it was Ash's parents actually just inquired about it, just a piss take, saying like if we sold the house, what we'd do. But once they pass away, the retirement home gets a third of whatever estate or property or inheritance.
If it costs $300,000 for the dwelling that they live in, they take $100K. Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah.
How isn't that the biggest
Yeah,
rot on the fucking planet? Because they're
Yeah,
still paying to be in that home.
Yeah, but they provide like a community. They provide, like, there's nurses on site, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They don't have to pay strata. That's all included. It's a good business model.
Fucking oath. They're cleaning up if they're doing that.
You fucking run a gym and charge memberships to people, and 75% of them don't attend. Same kind of thing.
That's actually not the same thing at all. not even similar.
Hey, this is if we're gonna die because we're stupid, I'll go first.
Do you think that's what it is? Just an elimination of the week, Chris?
Look, there's a million theories out there, but you know, I mean, I don't know, man. All I know is I'm enjoying watching them every day. We send each other links every day. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's amazing.
You know, today
you know what? It's thought provoking, which I think is great. I think everyone needs to. I don't know. I think they need to open their mind and take on a lot of things on board, and then sift through them and work out yourself. And you know, don't just believe one thing. Like, really research it yourself as well. Like, really, it's like supplements that we do. Research them. Really look into it and see if it's, you know, a legit claim or whatever it is. But there's something else. There's definitely something else going on. There's no doubt. Like, I think everyone agrees on that. There's something else going on.
I think between watching those videos every day and send them to each other and Trump's press conferences, mate, I'm good for entertainment. I don't turn the TV on. I just get the computer out, watch that. Then I'm happy.
Yeah, on the same computer. The press conference every afternoon at 5 o'clock.
Love what good. Just absolutely. Who are you? Oh, you report fake news.
Yeah.
Fake news.
Fake news. Fake news. Fake news.
It's the best ever.
Yeah. And then you watch their news they put up, and he's spot on. They're a bunch of. I tell you what, CNN are a bunch of fucking crooks. And that, what's her name? That Pulowski, the lady, the old hag that's been in for 40 odd years, needs to be booted. She's a disgrace. And if I go missing in the next few days, you know why?
Yeah.
I said, if all this conspiracy shit, I said, if me or any of my mates kill themselves, they didn't do it.
hey, Chris, if I'm hanging from my door with a.
If I die because I suddenly ingested any sort of peanuts or nuts, it's fucking charity, because she's been planning it because she can't handle me talking about conspiracies no more. Yeah. She's like the straightest, most boring accountant mind that can't think out of fuck outside 1 to 10. Right? As soon as I mention anything that's fucking a little bit to the right or the left, she just loses the mind.
Like Bitcoin.
She's not home right now.
Yeah.
Bitcoin was the best one. When I remember one night when it was my birthday, and he came for dinner with my birthday, and I can't remember what conspiracy theory it was that you came up with that night, but she lost his shit. And apparently you were arguing the whole way home just because you brought up a conspiracy theory.
She's not handle it. Next time you see her, just say, did they really go to the moon? And she'll just, whoa.
Yeah.
Well, if anything, it's a positive that we get to catch up a lot more doing this, because, like I said, it's been a while, and this is already our second episode this week. Yeah.
So talking about that stuff, like I've had a good phone call every single day. I've picked someone, rung them, had a good chat, and then last night I got a surprise one in the evening last night. Someone I haven't heard from in ages too. So there you go. I'm going to keep doing it. So every day someone's getting a phone call. I'm not going to tell you who it is. You're just going to have to pick up. Pick your phone up.
I think there's a lot of positives to come out of this as well. Unfortunately, from what we see on our newsfeed, people are picking a lot of negatives, but there are a lot of positives. Like Chris just said, I think it's definitely those sort of moments that are good.
I'll show you. I'll show you the park. I've got it across the road. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, but it's raining now. But I have never seen so many people doing outdoor training than I did yesterday afternoon, and it was so good to see. And it was actually people running past each other, saying hello, greeting each other, stopping for a chat. I don't know if it's because it's technically against the law now, but I've never seen that type of socialising in the area, and people just being conscious about being fit outdoors, because obviously gyms are closed. And that's a positive in my opinion.
That's really good.
What were you going to say, Jimmy? Probably rub that off with a negative.
I tell you what I noticed yesterday. After they made the announcement of you can't like exercise or be in groups of more than 2, I've never seen so many groups of 3 in my fucking life.
It's because you're noticing 3. It's because you're noticing it.
I'm driving and all these motherfuckers are walking around in groups of 3s. I go, they're taking the piss, mate.
All right, let's wrap it up there before we start talking too much shit. Gally, we'd like to record again this week. I've got a couple of guests lined up. I don't know what your other commitments are with that other boring one that you're doing. How often are you recording that shit?
I think we're doing one a week, but I'm good to go anytime, mate. Literally, I don't leave the house except to go to Chick-fil-A and do my cardio.
What time is it now, Gally?
What's that?
What time is it there now?
It is 6:30 at night.
So well, fuck, we can't even record the time that you go to Chick-fil-A. So you're good.
No, well, I can. What I'll do, I will film it for you and send it to you because it's a nice establishment.
I'll add it to this video. 100%. We
Yeah,
should.
no,
We
there
should.
you go.
Yeah.
Got a huge American flag out the front.
Have you gone today?
Don't you listen to what I say?
I wasn't.
30.
12:30.
12:30 on the dot.
What time is
It's
it there now?
6:30 now.
6:30. Sorry, mate. Fuck me. Sorry.
We're 6
Jimmy,
hours
what the
late.
hell's his problem? Now he's got a baby. He thinks he's freaking all that.
Listen. I just can't wait to listen to your other podcasts and listen to you talk about Seinfeld episodes for 30 minutes. It's good, man.
Hey, that was
That's going to be good.
I enjoyed that. I really did enjoy that.
All right. We'll leave it there. Thanks, Mick, for making the time out of your busy schedule to come on.
Hey, and if Xavier wants to clap back and throw any heat at the show and we'll start a bit of beef, we're good to go.
No. Now I'm right in the middle of it. No, we're good. We're
You know he won't do that. You know he won't do that. Exactly.
No, we're good. Let's just we're doing our thing. Everything's okay. We're good. We're good.
Hey, Chris, didn't you and Tim start up your podcast?
Yeah, we did. We recorded an episode a couple of weeks ago. Haven't released it. It's probably I don't know. We have to look at it. I think because maybe some of the things we said.
That was like our first ever episode. Do you remember that? Our first ever episode we didn't air.
But he was meant to come around last night, and we're going to do that as well. So, but he didn't show up. But that's Tim.
Yeah.
No shit. No problem.
I've got a couple of guests lined up. I won't say who they are because I don't want anyone poaching them like that. but we'll organise another time this week, and we'll try and do at least 2 or 3 a week while we're in lockdown.
Might as well, yeah. That'd be good. It'd be good to actually talk to you guys a bit.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Have fun with your lube, Gally. And we'll catch you later. See ya.
I'm going straight to my room.